Hi there. I'm Sarah. I bet you're wondering what my life was like 5 years ago. Well, allow me to paint you a picture, so rosy it could put a Hallmark movie to shame. Mark and I met during our second year of college. You know those couples who make everyone around them feel like they're witnessing something truly magical? That was us. Friends jokingly called us the power couple. And to be honest, we felt every bit as extraordinary as the label suggested. I can't believe I found you. Mark would often whisper in my ear as we lay curled up on the small dorm room bed, the glow from the desk lamp casting a soft, golden halo around us. And I can't believe you're real, I would respond, pressing my lips softly against his. We were madly, stupidly, overwhelmingly in love. Your wedding. Oh, let me tell you about our wedding. It was just fabulous. Every little girl's dream come true. We tied the knot in a beautiful countryside, venue surrounded by blooming wildflowers and cascading willows. Our closest family and friends were there, sharing the most special day of our lives with us. Do you, Mark, take Sarah to be your lawfully wedded wife? The minister's voice boomed, resonating across the open space filled with eager faces. I do, Mark proclaimed, staring in my eyes as if he was piercing my very soul. And do you, Sarah, take Mark to be your lawfully wedded husband? I do, I whispered, tears streaming down my face from the sheer joy and love I felt. When our lips met in a sealing kiss, the crowd erupted into applause and cheers. At that moment, it felt like nothing could ever go wrong. We danced the night away, our hearts filled with a euphoric love that only seemed to grow stronger as the clock ticked away. During the wedding reception, my best friend Emily took the mic to give a toast. To Sarah and Mark, she began, raising her champagne glass high in the air. May your love story be the one we all tell our grandchildren about, the epitome of what happily ever after should really mean. We clinked our glasses and shared a passionate kiss. Everyone around us could sense it. We were the happiest people in the world. Our love felt like the kind of love that you only read about in fairy tales. Only this wasn't fiction. This was real life, and it couldn't have been happier. And so that was us, Mark and Sarah, the perfect couple, living in our own perfect little world. We felt invincible, untouchable, like two star-crossed lovers destined to conquer life's hardships, hand in hand. Youth and naivety, they really do make for a compelling blend of self-assurance. You see, we were certain that we had it all figured out, that our love would withstand whatever obstacles were thrown our way. And for a while, it seemed as though it really would. Little did I know that life had other plans that would test us in ways we never anticipated. But that's a story for another chapter. So that's where our tale begins, under the golden rays of a setting sun. In a world that felt like it was built just for the two of us, we were madly in love. Or so I thought, and the possibilities seemed endless, Mark. And I were the epitome of young love, so beautiful and pure that nothing could seemingly stand in our way. Little did I know our happily ever after was going to take a turn so abrupt that it felt like I was ripped out of the pages of my own fairy tale. But let's not get ahead of ourselves, for now remember us as we were Sarah and Mark, perfect couple. At least that's what I believed of the bliss of early marital life, Mark. And I had been married for a couple of years. And those years were filled with the simple joys of togetherness. We would spend our weekends binge-watching shows or hiking up some local trail, our fingers entwined as if letting go would mean losing each other. Forever, yes, life was modest, but it was ours and it was wonderful. A few years into this idyllic existence, we decided to move into a rented apartment. The place was cozy, nothing fancy, but it had a charm that made it feel like home right away. Sarah, check this out. This could be a perfect spot for a reading nook, Mark said, pointing towards a small alcove near the living room window. Oh, I love it. And over there could be Emily's play area, I replied, my eyes scanning the modest space with visions of our future. Yes, Emily. Our bundle of joy who is soon to arrive. You see, I was pregnant, we found out on a chilly Sunday morning, the two pink lines on the test transforming our lives in an instant. Do you see what I see? I remember asking Mark, my voice tinged with disbelief. And wonder, are we going to be parents? He asked, his eyes meeting mine with a mixture of excitement and awe. We are I, confirmed, and just like that, our duo was soon to become a trio. During my pregnancy, we converted the small second bedroom into a nursery. It was the one part of our apartment that we wanted to be perfect, so we saved and scrimped to make it just right, from choosing the softest pastel shades for the walls, assembling the crib together. Every moment felt like a stepping stone to a new chapter in our lives. I can't believe we're doing this, Mark said one evening as we were hanging up a mobile of little stars and moons above the crib. Neither. But it's wonderful, isn't it? I responded, looking at our handiwork with a sense of pride and expectation. "It's beyond wonderful. It's magical," he said, pulling me close for a gentle kiss. Life during those months was a whirlwind of baby showers, doctor's appointments, and late-night ice cream runs to satisfy my weird pregnancy cravings. It was as if we were inside this beautiful bubble, impervious to the world's harsh reality. Sure, we weren't rolling in money. Both of us had jobs that paid just enough to get by, but we never felt lacking. The love we had for each other and the excitement for our the new family member filled our lives more than any material wealth could. "I've been reading some baby books, Mark said one day, sitting down next to me on our worn-out couch. "They say it's good to talk to the baby while it's in the womb. Helps with bonding or something." I laughed. "Well, go on then. Say something to your daughter." He leaned in, placing his lips close to my belly. "Hey there. Oh, Emily. It's your daddy. Just wanted you to know that you're coming into a world full of love. Your mom and I can't wait to meet you." His tears welled up in my eyes as he spoke. It was a beautiful, fleeting moment that felt like a snapshot of our life, frozen in time. I was utterly convinced that our love was a fortress, one that would protect us from any storm life might throw our way. But as it turned out, storms don't always announce their arrival. Sometimes they sneak up on you when you least expect them, leaving you to wonder how your fortress crumbled so easily. But let's not get ahead. This was still a time of hope, a time when the next chapter of our life seemed like it could only bring joy and happiness. We awaited Emily's arrival with bated breath, blissfully unaware that life had other plans that would forever alter the course of our story. I remember the phone call as if it was yesterday. I was in the nursery, folding tiny onesies and baby socks, when my phone buzzed on the nearby dresser. The screen showed an unfamiliar number, but something urged me to answer. "Sarah, this is your Aunt Linda," the voice on the other end spoke, heavy with emotion. "Your Grandpa Joe has passed away." My heart sank. Grandpa Joe was always something of an enigma in our family, quiet, reserved, and fiercely private about his business affairs. His visits were infrequent, but when he showed up, he had a grandeur about him, a charisma that commanded attention. I wasn't particularly close to him, but his presence was a constant, like a far-off star is there, even if you can't always see it. "Were you coming to the funeral?" Aunt Linda asked, pulling me out of my reverie. "Of course," I replied, feeling a strange blend of sadness and responsibility. The funeral was somber and respectful. Family and friends spoke fondly of Grandpa Joe, painting a portrait of a man who was far more complex than I had realized. It wasn't until the reading of the will, however, that I came to understand just how little I knew about him. "We've gathered here to go over the last will and testament of Joseph A. Harrington," the lawyer began, opening a leather-bound document. Various inheritances were doled out to family members, mostly modest sums and personal belongings. I expected nothing, really. Then the lawyer looked at me, a slight smile creeping onto his face. "And to my granddaughter, Sarah, who carries the future in her belly and the hope of a new generation, I leave the sum of $10 million and..." The room fell silent. $10 million and... But to me, I looked at Mark, but he wasn't there. He had opted to stay home, citing work commitments. I sat stunned, my thoughts racing as I tried to process what just happened. This was life-changing money, the kind of fortune that could shape Emily's future, that could give us the security we had never dared dream of. "It's on the plane ride back." I pondered how to share the news with Mark. I wanted to make it a surprise, to unveil this newfound security in a way that would make his eyes light up, just like when we found out about Emily. That shrink queries, "Excuse me, ma'am, would you like something to drink?" The flight attendant interrupted my thoughts. "And street. Water, please," I replied, lost in a haze of plans and what-ifs. It's arriving back at the apartment. I decided to bide my time. I'd consult financial planners discreetly, find the best investment strategies, and then reveal everything to Mark, making it a monumental surprise. Maybe I'd even capture his reaction on video, turning it into a cherished family memory we'd laugh about in years to come. I couldn't help but fantasize about it. "Guess what? We're millionaires now," I exclaimed. And he'd look at me incredulously before breaking into a wide smile. I'd pop stations. "Oh my God, are you serious? This is amazing. Sarah, this changes everything," he'd respond, sweeping me off my feet and twirling me around in sheer joy. I was giddy with excitement, eagerly awaiting the perfect moment to share this windfall. So with $10 million, We could pay off our debts, secure Emily's education, and perhaps even dabble in some philanthropy. The possibilities were endless, but as I would soon discover, life has a peculiar way of showing you that not all problems can be solved with money, and not all surprises are met with joy. Little did I know that my plans for the grand reveal would come crashing down, exposing fissures in the life I thought was perfect. For now, however, I was soaring on a cloud of boundless possibilities, unaware that a storm was brewing on the horizon, a storm that would rearrange the very foundations of my life. I was humming a soft lullaby to Emily, just days old, but already the center of my universe, when Mark walked into the room. His face was serious, tense, a look I hadn't seen before. He sat on the edge of our bed, struggling to make eye contact. "Thimble, Sarah, we need to talk," he said, his voice heavy with a gravitas that immediately raised alarms in my mind. "Okay, what's going on?" I asked, laying Emily gently into her crib and taking a seat beside him. I braced myself for what was coming, but no amount of bracing could prepare me for what he was about to say. "You know we've always been a team, right? And you know I love you and Emily more than anything," he began, fumbling with his words as though they were a complicated puzzle he couldn't solve. "Mark, you're scaring me. Just say what you need to say," I urged, my hand starting to tremble despite my best efforts to keep calm. "Peeps, I've been doing the math, and with you on maternity leave and my salary not being enough, I don't know how we're going to make ends meet. We can barely afford this place as it is," he said. "I understand it's tight, but we'll make it work. We always do." I tried to reassure him, my mind racing as I weighed the right moment to reveal my secret inheritance. But before I could, he dropped the bombshell. "Fictions. Sarah, you don't contribute enough financially to this family. I think it's better if you leave." Time froze. My heart pounded in my chest as his words hung in the air, each syllable a shard of ice piercing through the fabric of our marriage. I looked into his eyes, searching for a sign that this was some cruel joke, a terrible mistake, but his gaze was unyielding, resolute. "You're asking me to leave, me and your newborn daughter," I choked out, my voice tinged with a disbelief that quickly morphed in anger. "I think it's for the best. For all of us," he replied, standing up as if distancing himself would lessen the blow. "Where will I go? What will I do?" The questions came flooding out, my thoughts a swirling chaos of confusion and betrayal. "You'll figure it out. You always do," he said, his voice tinged with an indifference that hurt more than the words themselves. And then, without another word, he walked out, leaving me alone in the room with our daughter, who slept blissfully unaware of the life-altering earthquake that had just shaken our world. I felt a hollowness grow within me, a gaping void where my dreams and plans had once flourished. My marriage, my partnership, my team, it had all been an illusion, and now the curtain had been pulled back to reveal a devastating truth. I thought of the $10 million, a fortune that promised so much, but now seemed utterly useless. What good was money when the person you planned to share with had just shattered your heart into a million pieces? But as I looked at Emily, her tiny chest rising and falling with each peaceful breath, a new resolve took hold. If Mark could walk away from us so easily, then he didn't deserve to be a part of the future we would build. And build it we would, come what may. My hand stopped trembling. My heart still ached, but now it was an ache that fueled rather than paralyzed. Mark had made his choice, and now it was time for me to make mine. Little did he know, his decision had just set in motion a chain of events that would forever alter the course of our lives, and not in the way he might have imagined. With newfound clarity, I picked up my phone and dialed a number. "Hello, I'd like to speak to a divorce lawyer, please." It was the first step on a journey neither of us could turn back from, a path that would lead me to places I'd never expected but would come to embrace. The dream was shattered, yes, but in its place arose something far more potent, a fierce determination to build a new dream, one that no one could ever take away from us. The days following Mark's departure were a blur, a whirlwind of legal consultations, financial planning, and life-altering decisions. Despite the pain and the sense of betrayal, a part of me felt energized, unburdened by the weight of a failing marriage. I'd always wondered when the perfect moment to reveal my inheritance would be. No, ironically, it was proving to be my saving grace, but not in the way I had initially dreamed. I contacted a reputable financial advisor, laying out my assets and discussing how to create a secure future for Emily and myself. "You're lucky, Sarah. With this amount, you can really build a sustainable life," my financial advisor Susan said during our meeting. I don't feel lucky, but I do feel fortunate to have this cushion. Signing the final papers for a diverse portfolio of investments. I want to ensure my daughter never faces financial insecurity, especially after what's happened. Absolutely, you're making the right choices, Susan assured me. The next big step was housing. I couldn't bear to stay in the apartment Mark, and I had shared. The walls were suffused with memories that now stung like salt in a wound. I found a charming house in a friendly neighborhood. It was close to good schools and parks, a perfect environment to raise Emily. As I stood in the empty living room, its echoes filled with potential. Rather than past regrets, the real estate agent handed me the keys. Well, congratulations, Sarah. It's all yours, she beamed. Thank you, I said, holding back tears of a complex emotion that was a cocktail of relief, sadness, and hope. I'm looking forward to starting anew, this with the help of family and friends. I moved our belongings and started to set up our new life. Each piece of furniture arranged, each photo hung on the wall, felt like a small but significant victory. I even bought a new car, practical yet stylish, a symbol of independence and mobility. During all this, I kept a low profile on social media, knowing well that Mark would eventually catch wind of my new circumstances. And when he did, I wanted to be fully prepared for whatever came next. Sure enough, about a month after moving into the new house, there was a knock on the door. I opened it to find Mark standing there, his eyes red and face drawn. "Sarah, can we talk?" he stammered, glancing nervously at the new car parked in the driveway. For a moment, the old me, the one who had loved and trusted him, wanted to let him in, to hear his side of the story. But the new me, the one hardened by betrayal and fueled by a mother's protective instinct, knew better. "Mark, you've made it clear what you value. You walked out on your family because you thought we were a financial burden. Now that you see that I have money, you come crawling back," I said, my voice steely and unyielding. "But I made a mistake. Sarah, I didn't know." "You're right. You didn't know. You didn't know about the inheritance, but you also didn't know how to be a committed husband or a responsible father." I interrupted, cutting him off. "Your mistakes revealed your true character, and that's not something you can just apologize away." He looked defeated, broken. But as much as it pained me, I knew that I was making the right choice. Mark had shown me who he really was, and I had learned one of life's harshest lessons. That sometimes love isn't enough. Sometimes you need respect, trust, and the unwavering commitment to face life's challenges head-on, together. And so, I shut the door on Mark, both literally and figuratively, and returned to the life that Emily and I were starting to rebuild. Our new home was filled with the promise of better days, days that would be shaped by the choices I was making, now choices informed by past heartaches, but aimed at future happiness. Mommy, who was that Emily would probably ask when she was older, and I'd have to find the right words to explain someone I once knew, someone I once loved. But most importantly, someone who taught me that true strength comes not from avoiding life's betrayals and disappointments, but from rising above them to build something better and build it. Months passed and life began to find its new normal. Emily was growing into a curious toddler, and every day with her felt like a new adventure. I had also returned to work, though this time as a freelancer, giving me the flexibility to manage my own hours while still spending quality time with Emily. My newfound financial freedom allowed me to hire a part-time nanny, Lisa, who was fantastic with Emily and had become a great support for me. And then, just when I thought the past had been neatly tucked away, it reared its head again. I received a text message from Mark one cold evening. It read, "Can we talk? I have something important to say." "Sarah, who's that?" Lisa asked, sensing my sudden shift in mood as I read the message. "It's Mark." I sighed, putting the phone down on the kitchen counter. "He says he wants to talk, claims it's important. Are you going to meet him?" Lisa, brave looking concerned. "I think it's time to finally close that chapter, for better or for worse," I responded, considering the implications with a sense of grim resolve. I agreed to meet Mark at a neutral location, a local park, where the stark winter trees reflected my apprehensions. Bundled up in my coat and scarf, I arrived early, pacing nervously as I awaited his arrival. Finally, I saw him approaching. He looked different, older, tired, perhaps even regretful. Still, I fortified myself for whatever was to come. "Sarah, thank you for agreeing to meet me," Mark began, his voice quivering with an emotion I couldn't quite place. "Let's hear it then. What's so important?" I asked, keeping my guard up. "Look, I've had a lot of time to think," he stammered, "and I've realized how much I messed up. I've missed you, missed Emily. When I saw the photos of your new house and car, I realized I'd made a huge mistake. I was a fool to walk out on my family. And you think an apology is going to fix this after you left us when you thought we were struggling financially? I questioned, incredulous. I didn't know you had money, Sarah. If I had known so, it is about the money. I interrupted, not letting him finish. You've just proven. My point, your apology isn't because you've suddenly understood the value of family. It's because you've realized you missed out on the money, Mark. Looked down, unable to meet my eyes. I messed up. I can't undo what's been done. But I want to be a part of Emily's life. I'm still her father. Yes, biologically. You or I conceded. I conceded. But being a dad is more than just a title. It requires action, commitment, and sacrifice. Qualities you dismissed the moment you chose to walk away. I'm begging you. Sarah, I've changed, he said, tears now streaming down his face. Your tears might be real, Mark, but they're years too late. I needed a partner, and Emily needed a father. You were neither, and no amount of apologies can reverse that. As I turned to leave, I looked back one last time to see Mark standing there, defeated and alone. A stark contrast to the man I had once thought would be my forever. The experience was emotionally draining, but it was also liberating. I had faced my past, confronted my regrets, and come out stronger on the other side. As I drove back to my home, my sanctuary filled with the laughter and warmth that Mark had chosen to walk away from, I felt a weight lifted off my shoulders. His apology had done one good thing. It solidified my belief that the choices I had made were the right ones. For me, and most importantly, for Emily, and that was worth more than any empty words he could offer. In the years that followed, life unfolded in beautiful, unexpected ways. Emily blossomed into a bright and compassionate young girl, excelling in school and developing a love for art. She would spend hours sketching in her room, her creations a vivid tapestry of her imagination. My career also took off in ways I had never dreamed of. Freelancing had allowed me to network and collaborate on various projects, and eventually, I was offered a position as a senior editor at a respected online publication. The financial comfort gave me the freedom to not just secure Emily's future, but also to give back. I started a scholarship fund for single parents wanting to return to school, my way of turning my past challenges into opportunities for others. Mom, why do you do so much for other people? Emily asked one day as we were sitting in the living room, surrounded by paperwork related to the scholarship. Because, sweetheart, life has taught me that even when things look bleak, there's always a way to turn it around. By helping others, we're spreading positivity, I explained, smiling at her curious expression. Like how you turn things around for us, she probed. Exactly like that. I nodded. We continued our peaceful existence, just the two of us in our close-knit circle of friends and family. However, I wasn't entirely closed off to the idea of love. Just well, you actually. I met Daniel, a widower with a son, and we clicked almost instantly. What drew me to him was not just the chemistry, but also his unflinching honesty and integrity, qualities that had been sorely missing in my previous marriage. Sarah, are you sure about introducing Daniel to Emily? My sister Laura asked cautiously one day over coffee. I've never been more sure about anything. He's a wonderful man, and Emily likes him a lot. They've already met a couple of times, I answered, the smile on my face impossible to hide. You look happy, and that's what matters. Laura concluded, her eyes filling with tears of joy. Mike remained to distant memory, a chapter long closed. He tried to reach out a few times, mostly to inquire about Emily, but each message was met with a brief, polite response, reiterating that while he was her biological father, he was not a part of her life by his own choosing. That one evening, while Emily was busy with her art and I was in my study, working on an upcoming article, my phone buzzed with a notification. It was a message from Mark, a simple, I hope you're both doing well. I glanced at the screen for a moment, contemplating whether to reply, and then with a sense of finality, I put the phone away, focusing instead on the life that was still unfolding in beautiful ways, without him. Daniel walked into the room just then, bringing me a cup of coffee as a small gesture of love. I seemed deep in thought, he observed. Just reflecting on how far I've come, and how much further I still want to go. I answered, taking a sip of the coffee. Just with or without your past. Definitely without, I said, locking eyes with him. I'm success TTL. I'm more interested in the present and the future, both of which look incredibly bright. And that's how it was. A happily ever after, shaped not by fairy tales, but by the harsh realities of life, by trials and errors, by betrayals and newfound trusts. My story was far from over, but one thing was certain. The chapters yet to be written were mine to control, and they would be filled with love, security, and above all, unshakable resilience. Had become a mere footnote in a book that had so many more exciting chapters to come.